To learn about the off-grid lifestyle and to be inspired to live your dreams, click subscribe so you don't miss anything. Hit the bell notification. Okay, so it's bedtime again. It's about 5, well, it's actually, I'm running a little late tonight. It's about 5:45. This is our nightly routine. During the day, I sit them down here at the bottom, and then at the nighttime, I bring them up to the top, and they sleep up here. I put a cover over them, because if I don't, they'll look out the window all night wanting to be played with. As soon as you put the cover over the window, they immediately stop chirping and they lay down and they go to sleep. It also, I think, helps them stay a little bit warmer, although we're not having a real problem with temperature anymore. They're getting enough feathers now. They're staying pretty warm on their own. Like 3 days ago, these chickens couldn't get up from the ground to here by themselves. And I have not put them here. I wish I had gotten the camera on time, but they're jumping up and down by themselves. Now, you just saw that guy right there. That's Frenchie, and I'll explain his name in just a minute. But Frenchie is not a Buff Orpington. He was a stray run, and we don't even know if it's a he. It could be a she. We don't know what it is. Much smaller than the Buff Orpingtons. But yesterday, it could not get up here by himself. But today, he has done it twice, and now he's bouncing back and forth. And he is obviously much bigger than he was yesterday. These things are growing exponentially. Now, see, yesterday, they would have fallen off when that happened, when they lose their balance. They are growing so fast and going through a ton of food. I'm watching them grow. And I don't feel like I got chickens. I feel like I got parrots. Because I can put my arm here and eventually they'll go and sit on my arm. See, there she goes. Look at that. I have a parrot. You gotta be careful because they like to go bathroom on me. Now, she has not went up this high before. Look at this. I don't want her on my shirt really because she's gonna go to the bathroom on me. All right, little one. Oh, what are you getting all upset about? I didn't hold you right. That's right. Okay, calm down. But they're like parrots. I've never had chickens that are so friendly. But they're just so friendly, all of them. Even the oddball. He does not behave like the Buff Orpingtons. Now, the Buff Orpingtons, I've explained this before, but I don't know if I've explained it very well. I always wanted egg chickens, so I always got the Rhode Island Reds. Well, I guess I never really researched it that well. I always was just told Rhode Island Reds are the things you want. Well, now I'm researching things, and this year we got Buff Orpingtons. Had to adjust my lighting a little bit, so I apologize for the change of scenery, which scared them all down there, so now they're not being as playful. So I think I read somewhere that the Rhode Island Reds are the offspring or the descendants of Buff Orpingtons. Now, like I said, I can't confirm that. I couldn't find the information again. And Carolyn thinks it's the other way around. Regardless, I've had Rhode Island Reds, and they weren't this friendly. These guys are really friendly. Now, the nice thing about the Buff Orpingtons is they're just as good as Rhode Island Reds, see that, at producing eggs. They have the same amount of egg production. They're cold hardy, just like Rhode Island Reds, but they're also more friendly from what I can read and understand. Now, all this information I'm getting from the Tractor Supply Store webpage. So take it for what it's worth. But my personal observation is these guys are much friendlier, much easier to play with, much tamer, and much more curious. They just seem smarter. I don't know if that's important, but what I have noticed is normally chickens to me are just chickens. They go out in the yard and they walk around. They're kind of neat to watch. But these guys are becoming like pets. I'm really kind of enjoying having them around. See, now that's Frenchie. I got to tell you who Frenchie is, but he could not do that yesterday. Now, I've said in a previous video why I've named this one Frenchie. There's a lady from France, and she doesn't watch all my videos, so I don't know if she's ever going to get to see the naming of the chicken, but she said she didn't want me to name a chicken after her, which I had no intentions of naming any of the chickens after anybody. So I said, no, I won't. I'll name it Frenchie because she's from France. And she said, well, it so happens that the national bird of France is a chicken. Well, originally she wanted me to name the black chicken Frenchie. Well, the black chicken died. We all talked about that, had a respiratory problem of some sort. So the only way I can really identify a specific bird is the oddball. That's, like I said, the straight run. So I decided to name the straight run bird Frenchie, because that's what she wanted. Anytime Frenchie's doing anything, I'm going to point out that's Frenchie. The rest of them, maybe they'll get their own personalities and I'll be able to tell them apart a little better. In the future, we can name them that way. There was one that was sick and nursed it back to health, and I can't even tell you which one that is. It's one of the friendlier ones. I'm sure of that because there's one in here that just does not care. Look at that. See, does not care that you pet. I don't know if that's the one. See, that one gets all squeaky. So tonight we got to get them transferred, and then we're going to clean up the paper down here. Carolyn's made it so it's really easy to clean out. All we got to just do is move the cage over to the side. So she's got a piece of plywood down here that she's covered with paper. So all we got to do is slide the coop back. The plywood stays in place. We pick up the paper, we put it in the compost pile, put a new piece of paper down, throw a little bit of pine chips on it, which is right here, and we're done, ready for tomorrow. Easy cleanup. So a few days ago, we lost several chickens. Like I said, some sort of respiratory infection. And a lot of people had a lot of suggestions on what we should have done to avoid it and what we should have done afterwards. I think we lost 4 chickens. Here's the thing. The Buff Orpingtons, all but one, survived. Most of the straight runs, except for that Frenchie, passed away. So here's what our thinking is the straight runs had some sort of sickness when we bought them. And it passed it on to that small Buff Orpington. It was like the runt. It was very small. So I suspect it had a harder time adapting to whatever it is the straight runs brought into this cage. A lot of people suggested that we should go back and get our money back. These things were only $3 a piece. And the straight runs, I think, were only like $2.50 a piece. They're just not that expensive. So it wasn't really worth my effort to drive all the way out to town, which would have been, a 60-mile round trip. Frenchie here really is becoming friendly. He acts different than the rest of them, but he is still very friendly. It's just really weird. It's almost like the others rubbed off on him. The other thing is some folks really suggested that we vaccinate the chickens or have the hatchery vaccinate the chickens. Okay, I understand that these things are becoming like pets to me, and I would vaccinate pets. I get that. But on the other hand, they're here for one purpose. They're here to provide food and some entertainment, that kind of thing. So I don't know if it's really worth the extra amount of money to put into it. Let's say I lost $8 from losing those chickens. If I'd have spent $20 to get them all vaccinated, it just didn't pay off to me, in my mind, to do that. Yes, I understand it's a living, breathing thing. I get it. But, how do you look at this? Is it food or is it a pet? Is it, what is it? But now, I know a lot of people are going to disagree with this, and I almost hate the idea of me even suggesting this is what we're doing. But we've bought the medicated food. So that, that'll help prevent some of these common diseases that are in chickens. And it was recommended. Now, I know, Rob, you're going to poison yourself with those eggs. Carolyn and I were talking about this, and they'll be off that medicated food way before they start laying eggs. The other thing is I'm hoping that their primary meal will be free range. That they'll be out there eating worms and bugs, and they're already catching flies, so that's my big goal, is get them out there into that chicken run that I'm building, and they can just free range and have all kinds of food that way, and it'll cut down on our food costs. Speaking of cost, a lot of people said, it's ridiculous that you bought chickens for eggs. You should go to the store and buy eggs. It's much cheaper. Okay, I'm not a survivalist. I've talked about this a million times. I'm not a conspiracy theorist. I used to be, both, but I'm not. I grew up and I realized, you know what? It's just not worth the stress of it all. However, we do live off-grid. And there's something to say about the freedom of not having to go to the grocery store and being dependent on spending money and paying for things, and when you can do it on your own. Now, the other thing is I've looked into this quite a bit. We're going to get more eggs out of these guys than I'm actually going to eat. I can sell them. You got to be careful when you're selling. Here in the state of Missouri, you got to have a permit to sell eggs, unless somebody's coming to your property to buy them. Then you don't need a permit. So we'll put a sign up, and if people stop and want eggs, they can have eggs. That will actually, I would think, start paying for the cost of the eggs. So now it's free. And like I said, my big thing in life is I want to have freedom. I want to have freedom from society as much as possible. And this provides me with a sense of freedom. Carolyn's going to grow a garden this year, and we're going to learn and learn and learn more and more about that, so we can have a really productive garden. Hopefully this year, but definitely next. And we want to get goats. The other thing we're doing is cure our meat. That has worked out really well. We've already cured 15 pounds of meat. So I hope I can inspire you to find your freedom when you're living your dream. Thanks for watching.